this is cjhoyle. Today is Saturday, August the 14th, 2021, and I'm riding my bike here in North York, just riding past Finch West Station on the Line 1 Yonge University TTC subway line. In this video, I'm going to be riding my bike and giving a narrated tour of the Finch Corridor Recreational Trail, which I'll be riding from here over heading in the east direction towards a park known as G. Ross Lord Park, which is just past Dufferin Street. But I'll be taking this recreational trail to get there. This is the second video that I filmed showing the Finch Corridor Trail. In the previous one, I started over at the very far western end of the Finch Corridor Trail, and I rode to the point where we started this video back at Finch West Station. So essentially this is going to be part 2 in the series. And over there, kitty corner from where we are right now, you can see that's the trail that I'm going to be following, but I'm just going to wait for my signal to get across here. And it looks like they've got some bike signals in place here, but they haven't actually activated them yet because they're still covered in black plastic. But we'll cross to this point here, and then I'll press the signal button here to get across this road here. This road is called Tangiers Road. And it's just sort of the next little road that runs north-south from just a little bit to the east of Keele Street, where we started. I'll just wait another moment here. So you can see that straight ahead, the trail goes over to the left, and over on the right, there's also a roadway which goes along this same pathway. And that's actually a road that regular motor vehicles are not allowed to drive on. It's actually a busway that only Toronto Transit Commission TTC buses are allowed to drive along. And the reason why that road exists here like that, well, I guess they don't typically build regular roads underneath of big major corridors like this for hydro, like you can see above. But they made an exception for just these buses, I guess, because they needed a fast way to transport people to Yonge University, which is a university campus that's just sort of to the north of where we started, which is now served by the subway after that Finch West Station that we started at. There's another subway stop just north of there that is right inside of the university campus of York. But before they had that, they had major difficulties being able to transport lots of people from the core of the city, or anywhere really around Toronto, to the south of here, up to the campus. So they built this express busway for transporting students, essentially for where the subway used to end, which is a station at the time which was known as Downview Station. It's now known as Shepherd West Station, and the buses were able to take this faster route than the other vehicles. There's a limited number of uses of what can be done on a hydro corridor like this, a place where there's high voltage electrical lines running above ground. But recreational trails like this that we're riding on is one, and I guess busways are. There's also parks and soccer fields and things like that you'll also see along this corridor. Up ahead we've got a level crossing of a railway track. This is the railway track that carries GO Transit's Barrie line. Just a little bit to the north of where we passed it there, to the left, there's a stop on that trainway that's for Yonge University. It's not really right in the campus, it's a little bit off, but there were shuttle buses that they operate between it and the campus, although it was recently announced that they're going to be closing that stop on the train. So this portion of the corridor here has a lot of industrial purposes, particularly to the north of here, like you can see on our left. But also to the south, there's a big tank farm, which is, I believe, belongs to Esso, the oil company. So perhaps this is not the most scenic part of the Finch Corridor, but it is a nice place to come and ride, simply for the reason that it's usually fairly quiet. You know, it's not usually clogged with people, so you can ride at a relatively fast pace if that's something that you like to do. And the asphalt is still quite smooth. This trail was originally built, I mean, it's sort of gradually been built and expanded over the last 10 years or so, but I understand that it was the recession's stimulus funding that helped to pay for getting this trail off the ground. We got another road to cross up ahead. This one's called Alness Street. Once again, I'll press my signal button here over on the left. You can see that these crossings here have both signals for pedestrians and for bikes, and there's separate buttons for each. Alness is not a particularly busy road, but it does serve the many industrial purposes through here, so I imagine there's quite a lot of larger vehicles that would drive along it, so it's important that it has a safe crossing. And beyond here, the Yonge University busway does continue. It doesn't go the whole way along this corridor. In fact, at the point where we're going to be turning off of the corridor and getting into the park that we're heading for, that's also where the busway ends, and that's because if you were to continue just heading in the east direction from there, you'd actually be going into a large reservoir, which you have to go around, which is why we're going into the park, and that's what you can see straight ahead. This is Dufferin Street that we have to cross, and just beyond there, there's a large reservoir. I'll show you a satellite image to illustrate what I'm talking about here. So here we've got our crossing again, and I'll press the signal button to get across, and we'll continue, and from here we'll be heading in the north direction to take us into G. Ross Lord Park. Now, if you wanted a more direct route to continue heading along the Finch Trail, it is possible to go across this intersection and turn to the right and do a little bit of riding on the sidewalk, and that will connect you back up with that reservoir, and there's a bridge across it, or kind of a berm that's built above the ground where you can get onto the trail, and you can continue that way. But going through the park here is going to be all on trails, and it's also a lot more scenic. It's the scenic route, and there's a lot of nice things to see in that park there. So that's where we're going to head. So I'll come across now that I've got my green signal, and I'll make a left turn and head in the north direction as we deviate from the Finch Corridor Trail. Got a little bit of a hill to ride down here. Now, I believe further north on Dufferin, once you get past the city limits of Steeles Avenue at the north end of Toronto, once you get into York region, which is north of here, there are bike lanes on Dufferin Street. All right, so here we've got a little bit of a steep downhill, which will take us across a little bridge. I'm not sure what this little water stream that runs underneath of this bridge is called, but it's one of the tributaries that feeds the reservoir further to the south of here. And I believe we want to follow the sign to the right. There are actually signs to help you get through this park if you want to continue along the Finch Trail, because it is a little bit of a maze. If you haven't done it before, you can get lost kind of easily. I know I've done that before. It seems intuitive, but it isn't necessarily always. Here's another bridge for another small tributary. Got a fairly steep hill to climb here. And now here we've arrived in the middle area of the park where there are some sporting fields. The fields that are straight ahead are cricket fields. And I'm just going to make my way to the middle of the park where we'll end this video. As I mentioned, this is the second video that I'm filming along Finch, but I do plan on continue filming the next segment as I make my way continuing in the east direction. It's good to see lots of people out enjoying this park on this beautiful Saturday morning. The temperature's not too hot, it's nice and comfortable. Almost a perfectly blue sky. Couldn't really ask for too much more. It's a slight breeze, or actually it's a fair bit of wind. It'd be a good day to fly a kite. And just up ahead on the right, there's a washroom building that serves this park here. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on this narrated tour of this portion of the Finch Trail. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.